what they need to do is just sign somebody who can lead the line, press in the way that Arteta likes to press, keep the shape, score a few goals. Is Origi a potential?
It's not even just about top four, it's also about Antonio Conte. I think for me, he's holding out on signing a contract extension to see what happens with the backing he's given. What would you do? Midfielder for Newcastle?
Midfielder.
Like a James Maddison?
Or more goals.
Like they wanted?
Yeah, Maddison, Tielemans kind of player. The Premier League is hotting up and the January transfer window is open. I'm so excited to explore this. We're going to be having a debate around what clubs need to spend the most amount of money this window. So, rank the clubs in order of the clubs that need to spend the most amount of money.
All right, let's reveal.
3, 2, 1.
Jeez, you don't think Liverpool need to spend any dough?
I do.
He doesn't.
Less than other. It's not that I don't think Liverpool need to spend. It's that I think that they need to spend less.
Do you put Chelsea on your list?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean Chelsea clearly.
Chelsea, you know what it is? Nothing's gonna. Yeah.
That's why I put.
Can't be rectified.
Yeah, can't be rectified.
No.
Can't be like. Yeah.
That's a few windows.
That's my problem with Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some
There
truth.
have to be
in
so
that.
many outgoings and incomings. There's no point.
The reason I've gone Arsenal top of this list is because I honestly think that if they spend well, they could win the Premier League.
Yeah,
and therefore they have to be top of this because of what's at stake.
You know the problem with Arsenal is look, Jesus is their main man, right? He's their number 9 through the middle, and I guess he's their next guy for the next 4 or 5 years. They need to replace him, so they need to go big. When Jesus gets fit again in February, do they have a problem?
No,
a bit
but
like the
Ade-
Harry Kane situation, where it's like you're only there when Harry Kane's
I
not
don't
fit.
think you need to sign like that. What you're suggesting is they need to go and sign another marquee player who demands to start.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they need to do that. They need to be a bit cleverer than that. They need to do so. You know when teams win the league, they win the league because of their main centre forward.
Yeah.
But then there'll always be the other players. So, for example, you know when Chelsea won the league because of Diego Costa's goals. Part of the reason that we won the league was also because of Loic Remy's goals. So we had Loic Remy there just to score those 7 or 8 goals that get you to the title. It's about the other player. It doesn't have to be. You don't need a situation where you've got Drogba and Torres. You need a situation where you've got Costa and Remy.
Like someone that's a slight level below that player.
You know what it is,
to fill in that
when
void.
I don't know if that's a statement that needs to be made to win the league. When Jesus came in from City, although I know what you mean, I weren't thinking that Arsenal was signing a 30-goal striker. It was a statement. It gave everyone that extra lift. Like, we bought a big player, we're going for it. I know what you mean. You get a guy in that spreads the goals. So Saka gets 7, whoever that number 9 is gets 6. It spreads. I feel like you need to make a statement.
But remember that Gabriel Jesus, whilst being a masterful footballer, somebody I think is genuinely brilliant, not exactly prolific.
No, but it was a statement signing to the point where I didn't think Arsenal could make it not making the Champions League. They were like, we're going for it. Zinchenko, Jesus, we're going for it.
But they've made that statement now. Now they just need to bridge the gap
Yeah.
until Jesus gets back.
I agree.
Give me a name then.
Important.
You mentioned that. Give me a name of someone that you think can come in and isn't your 50 million, but is a 25 million pound striker maybe that can come in and fill the gap. Who is that?
It's very difficult. Like, obviously, you've put me on the spot asking that question. It's a very difficult one to answer, but it needs to be thought out, and somebody at Arsenal needs to come up with the answer. You know, in the way that you sign those players that just bridge a gap. Like Chelsea tried it with Higuain, it didn't work. Manchester United did it with Henrik Larsson, and it did work.
Yeah.
And what they need to do is just sign somebody who can lead the line, press in the way that Arteta likes to press, keep the shape, score a few goals, and basically just keep the seat warm for Gabriel Jesus. Is Origi a potential answer to this problem?
I think it's a good shout. Look, he's not doing well at AC Milan. Didn't get his side or his place back in the Belgium squad. And the good thing about Origi is that, I say good thing, he's almost accepted this role of being on the bench.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to come and upset the apple cart because he doesn't start.
He's only going to play he's going to be leading the line until Jesus is fit, which is what, 9 games.
And then he'll get his minutes, because one thing we say about this Arsenal squad is the squad's not got depth.
Yeah.
So then he get his minutes. What does this do, though? The fact that we're having this conversation, if you're in Nketiah right now, and you were, talks about going to Brighton and other clubs, and, Arsenal secured you for another 4 years, 100 grand a week, whatever. So surely now with Jesus out, okay, here's your 7 games. While Jesus is not fit, you're the
Do
guy.
you think Gabriel Jesus can be replaced for 7 or 8 or 10 or a dozen games by Ade and Abbi?
Yeah. I think if they mix it around, it's not just Nketiah. I think if they mix it around, Emil Smith-Rowe's fit again, Martinelli, Saka, and Nketiah, I think there's enough there in that 4 to get goals to help them until he comes back.
The problem is, Arsenal, under normal circumstances, aren't competing for the very top. They are potentially going to win a league. They are top of the league. And therefore, the mindset needs to be different. Ade and Nketiah can probably do a job in the way that you're suggesting if you're competing at a different level. If you're competing for top 4, you can drop the odd point.
And that's why I started.
They're competing for the Premier League.
And that's why I started by saying go big.
So do you think they could
How
go and,
big?
do you think they
Big,
could go
big.
and get someone like Zaha?
Big. Yeah, big. Statement.
But would they do it? He's out of contract in 6 months. Are they going to go and spend 70 million or like on a James Maddison? Are they going to do that and think of it long term? We're building the strength and the depth of our team.
They should.
They should.
But are they going to do it?
They
I
spent
don't
money.
know. They've never been in. We've
never been in this position for a long time.
But okay, look at it this way. So this time last season, right? They could have gone and strengthened in January. It would have got them top 4. They didn't. Are they going to learn from that? Because we're in a different element now. This is potentially to win the Premier
I think
League.
Arsenal, though, have become more attractive than they were this time last year. I think if you're looking at that Arsenal team and you're looking at the project that Arteta's putting together, you're thinking, wouldn't mind being a part of that now.
And they're going to be a Champions League club next year.
Fact.
Like whether you think they finish 1st or 4th, nobody thinks they finish 5th. So the fact that whoever signs for them is going there on the promise of Champions League football changes the perception of the club.
Mate, the promise of working with Martinelli, future star, Saka, current, Odegaard.
No, it's an attractive
It's
proposition.
honestly London. We know that's a sway as well.
Who then? When you say go big, what are you talking here?
60, 70 million on the striker.
Have you got anyone in mind? Are you thinking?
What about someone like Vlahovic? Because they were looking at him last January. Didn't really pan out. He went to Juventus. It's not really working out for him there. That could be someone.
And look at what's going on at Juventus. I mean, there could be a case of everyone jumping off the ship
Fire
soon, right?
sale.
Yeah, fire sale. It's interesting though, because remember they were getting big on Darwin Núñez. So they kind of are looking at that kind of Vlahovic sort
Type.
of profile, that type of player. Yeah, that's centre for big, strong.
And you know he gets goals, even if it's not working out currently. You know the talent he's got.
Realistically, do you see Arsenal being a club that will spend this sort of money in a January transfer?
I'd be very surprised. I think they should. If that was my club and I was in that position.
Wait,
I'd be
we're talking
surprised.
about an Arsenal that spent big on Aaron Ramsdale.
No,
big
they
on
do
Ben
spend
White.
money,
But
they
not
spend
in
their money.
January.
No, not in
Spent
January,
it.
but they've not been in this position in January.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're talking about going for the league title. So I do think Arsenal.
Hopefully
I
they
think
don't.
all of us have got. Have you got Arsenal?
I've got
number
Arsenal.
one?
I didn't. I put
I've got Arsenal number one.
I'm happy to put them first. I'd put Tottenham first.
The reason that I've got them number one though is because of the jeopardy. Like what's at stake is the biggest prize, and therefore the most important team to spend.
I'm happy
money
to
is.
switch them.
Okay,
I've
gone Newcastle second for very similar reasons. If they spend, they'll get Champions League.
Fair point.
That's interesting. You know why I don't have Newcastle? I've got them 5th, and the only reason is because I think their squad's good already.
Yeah,
I actually think they've got a good squad. Sometimes we want to spend for the sake of spending. When I look at that squad of 18, and I think it's not that bad.
I think I
Don't-
agree.
yeah.
but I think that just a little bit.
Just a little bit. That's why I've got them at 5th. I think maybe just signing.
What would you do? Midfielder for Newcastle?
Midfielder.
Like a James Maddison.
or more goals. Because
Like they wanted.
Yeah, Maddison, Tielemans kind of
Yeah.
player, or a centre forward, just somebody to share the burden. Because I think Callum Wilson, I know he hasn't been injured at all this year.
But he's prone.
Yeah, and I
feel like it
I saw Shelby come on the other day, for Gamara. Shelby came, I was like, that drop-off's too big. I like John Joe.
Yeah.
That drop-off's a bit too big. So maybe an extra body of real quality so Gamarish can look around and think,
Imagine if
okay,
they signed Maddison.
Unreal.
I think they go for it in the January transfer window. Chelsea, when we were serious, signed Michael Essien when we'd already won the league with the best midfield in the country. We went and signed Michael Essien. We didn't need Michael Essien, but you need Michael Essien because he's Michael Essien. I think that Newcastle are in a situation where any new recruit just elevates, the tide rises at the club.
Yeah.
And if they do it, I think they're going to get top 4. But part of the reason that I think they're going to get top 4 is because I anticipate a bit of spend.
okay, all right.
Me and Ade have both put Spurs as second though.
You think Tottenham is more important that Tottenham spend than
Yeah,
Newcastle?
I think Tottenham need a midfielder and a centre-back desperately.
Definitely.
I feel like it's now
But this is pivotal because
make top four.
Yeah, if it's not even just about top four, it's also about Antonio Conte. I think for me, he's holding out on signing a contract extension to see what happens with the backing he's given in the transfer window. I think there's also arguments for a right back. Jed Spence has been sitting there
But you can't sign a right back with Jed Spence at the club.
Hold on, it's to keep Jed Spence, but you've got to get rid of Emerson Royale.
So we're going Tottenham second. Why do you think it's so important for Tottenham to finish second? Like, I understand why Abby's going to say this, but I'm surprised that you think...
For Tottenham to spend second?
Yes.
At the start of the season, it's weird. When we all talked about who's won this transfer window, remember we was having this debate. I think you said Arsenal correctly, and I think I said Spurs. I said, look at what Spurs have done. Perisic has come in, looked fantastic. Richarlison's come in. I just don't think it's worked. Richarlison hasn't done anything for Spurs.
So if they spend, you think they get top four?
Yeah. But even bigger than that, keep Conte. I think if he feels that he's not being backed in the transfer window by Daniel Levy, he's done. He's out. His contract's up at the end of the season. He thinks, look, you're not ambitious. You're not spending money. I need money to compete with the behemoths in the Premier League. If you're not backing me, I can't get free transfers all the time. I can't go to the Italian league and find superstars.
Given money. He was given money anyway from when he came in.
Is there a particular player or a couple of players that you have your eye on?
I mean, that Vardiol would be one. For me, I think centre back is super important for us. A right back.
It's weird.
God knows who.
When you look at Spurs.
God knows who.
And again, I said they won the transfer window and I've got it wrong in hindsight. But I thought Basuma was going to come and play every single game. I thought he was going to land and literally just dominate that midfield. And not happen. I thought Jed Spence, watching him last season, I thought he's going to come in and he's going to be that right-sided player. Up and down a bit like Reece James. Richarlison's going to start every game and boom.
Basuma's actually not been that bad. He's got better as it's gone on.
I thought that they had a brilliant window like you, Ade, but the recruitment ultimately at Tottenham has been...
But they're not bad players.
No, absolutely not.
So is that more in the implication?
No, you know what it is though? There is a bit
like... You know at Chelsea the recruitment was bad when... Like, Hakim Ziyech is a wonderful footballer.
Yeah.
Even Christian Pulisic, who I've slated. Like, he's the best player on the pitch when England played America. But the recruitment for Chelsea is bad because for Chelsea it hasn't worked. And that's what I would say about Tottenham. Like
they're good players. You look at those players individually. Perisic, look at the header he scored the other day in the World Cup.
Perisic hasn't been bad though for Tottenham.
Yeah, he hasn't, but
I expected more. But you think so Tottenham need to spend to get top four is what you're thinking?
No, and to keep Conte.
Yeah.
So there's a double whammy there.
Fair.
Yeah.
I've got Chelsea third.
Chelsea's not on my list.
I've got Liverpool third.
I've got Liverpool third.
Yeah, Liverpool. Liverpool need to go big.
Don't need to spend.
You know what it is? You know what it is?
Chelsea are in such more shit. Liverpool will finish in the top four without any spend.
You know what it is about Chelsea? Chelsea really are number one on this list.
Yeah, but I think
they're not there because
but
it takes more. Yeah, it's going to take more than spending to sort out that club right now. So I've almost left them off because I don't know what you do. You see that? Yeah.
Problem.
I don't know what you do with Chelsea.
The January window.
Yeah,
no,
you can't fix this in 1 month.
FFP will be at your door immediately.
They're always at the door, and then they always get an embargo, and it's suddenly lifted.
So third, you've gone Liverpool.
I've seen things at Liverpool this season that I thought I'd never see under Klopp. Like honestly, remember there was even a conversation, and I didn't entertain it, not at all, because I love the man, about Klopp. Maybe that's that. It's been such a weird season. The midfield has been shown to look leggy and old. It's almost like we've got a midfield that's either 30 plus or 23 and below. There is no in between.
Yeah,
there is no in between. 28-year-old, just has legs, can dominate a midfield. Obviously, we went massive for Tchouaméni. He decided that he'd prefer to live in Madrid than up north for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with him. So look, we need to go big for a midfielder. I'm confident we're going to get Jude in the summer, so I think we'll probably wait it out, but Liverpool do need a midfielder desperately.
Do you not think that just like to discuss where Bellingham ends up, as much as I understand why you want him, and I can see why you believe that it could happen, do you not think that ultimately he goes to Real Madrid or Man City?
I'm not even joking. I'm not saying this with Liverpool. I genuinely believe it's done.
But why do you believe it's done and like the press aren't telling us it's done?
I can't really tell you it's done like that. It's almost like the Haaland one, when City didn't sign a forward and almost waited for Haaland to the end of the season, and we're like, we're just going to wait because we know what's coming. I think
so if you don't get any type of midfielder in January, you can assume it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could it happen in January?
No, I don't think it does.
So what are you hoping for in January? You've got Liverpool third on this list. What are you hoping for in January?
It's going to sound stupid if I say a forward, but Diaz is injured again. He's gone. Broke down recently. Jota's still injured. He's gone. So there's a bit of a concern
Another
there.
forward.
There's a bit of a concern there when Firmino, who's hit and miss, Darwin Núñez and Salah. Just something there. Nothing special. Almost a bit like we were talking with Arsenal, where see what
Origi,
bring him back.
Yeah, bring Origi.
Minamino can come back as well if he's there as well. So it's like along those lines. But if Liverpool do go massive, then I think it will be Bellingham in January. But I don't see it happening. But my parents.
and Manchester United 4th.
Yeah, I've got United 4th as well.
I've got United 4th.
And so that means Newcastle 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put Newcastle on and explain to me why Manchester United are 4th again. I don't feel like they're in dire need. Apart from the Ronaldo replacement.
They need a striker. I mean, Ronaldo's gone.
They're in dire need. Ronaldo's gone. Yeah. Martial can't play 3 games in a row.
Hang on, do you know what it will be? Do you know what we need to explore here?
I know where you're going.
The World Cup. You know, like the player from the World Cup that gets the move, the Karol Poborski.
I'm always sceptical about buying off the back of a World Cup.
Yeah, Liverpool bought El Hadji Diouf off the back of a World Cup. That didn't quite work out. And Salif Diao.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always work out. It's crazy. I grew up Man United buying the best players.
Do you know who they should sign?
Like, why are we not talking? Why are we not talking the best? Why are we not talking Kylian Mbappe?
Because it's January. We will do that, I'm sure, when we get to that stage. Do you know? I've just worked it out though. I know exactly who they should sign.
Who are you going to say?
Olivier Giroud.
No, I didn't think you were going to say.
No. You know what? They've always done that, and they've always been critiqued about going for the old person. They've done it with Cavani. They've done it with Ibrahimovic. Mm-hmm. I don't think United fans are going to keep accepting you signing a 37, 38-year-old.
Only January, and it's because Ronaldo's gone. It's a very particular.
So another stopgap for United.
It's a stopgap until January, until the summer.
How many stopgaps are United going to do?
I don't think Ten Hag's that guy, because I don't think that he's that guy that wants to take another 40-year-old. I think he's made it very, very clear about the way he wants his team to work. He's building a team, and even if they don't get top 4 for whatever reason, that's fine, because he's only been there 1 year. It's a very big transitional period. I don't think he's willing to give anybody else authority, a big person who thinks they might be bigger than the club or anything like that. I just can't see it. I think he's made his stamp very, very clear, his messaging very, very clear, which is actually good for United, because they haven't had that.
If Ten Hag's had that conversation with Rashford now Ronaldo's gone, and it is Jadon Sancho on the left and potentially Rashford through the middle, it's not the worst,
I know.
It's not the worst. And now, look, we all know that Casemiro is the best midfielder in the world now, we're told. Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. They're not that short.
They're a good team.
They're not that short.
Yeah. There we have it anyway. That is our list. That is how we think the January transfer window will shape up. In order of teams that will spend the most amount of money, that's how we think this will go. Let us know who you want your club to sign this January transfer window, and we will see you all on the next episode of The Playlist.
That was an interesting debate. Next week, this is going to be fun, because we're going to talk about players that desperately need an upward curve in 2023. Make sure you join us. As always, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment, all that good stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.